I'm just going to say an example.
Say, my friend.
You feel like I stole your grapes.
Oh, shoot.
You feel like I ate your grapes. And you say, "Where's my damn grapes?"
Oh,
You're not going to last long with me.
no, no, no.
I don't play with that kind of stuff. One day it's you, "Where's my damn grapes?" The next is, "Get out my face, bitch." The Brunch with Kiki and Casey podcast, where we're serving up real, raw, empowering food and drink for thought while chatting about life, relationships, and providing perspectives which could make a difference in your life right now. My name is Casey,
And I'm Kiki.
and we are so excited to have you as our weekly brunch guest and share great conversation with you.
All right. So here's a reminder of how our podcast works. Every month, we will focus on a particular series topic, and each week, we will discuss a specific subject within the series. For those of you who joined us for our last episode, we focus on getting your mind right when it comes to friendships. This week, our topic is get your mind right, get your relationships right.
Get your relationships right. Oh,
Mhm.
can't wait for that. Now, before we get into our topic today, we want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and share this podcast. Share it with your family and friends, coworkers, or whomever you like. We're always dropping gems, and you never know who could benefit from what we discuss. Also, please remember to click on the link in the show notes section of the podcast, or if you're listening to us on YouTube, click the link in the description section to get your free copy of the major points we discuss in every podcast episode. This way, if you're listening to us while multitasking, you don't have to worry about missing any of the major points we are sharing with you. Also, please feel free to leave a comment and let us know what you learned from this particular episode. We'd love to interact with you, so we definitely look forward to hearing from you. And now, let's get this party started with our question of the day. Kiki, what question do you have for us today?
All right. We have what are some of the reasons why people start dating?
Great question. Great question with many answers. Some start dating because they need a sugar daddy.
Oh, shoot.
Yes. Some start dating because they want to get married. Some start dating because it's wintertime and they feel like somebody will hug them in the cold weather. I don't know, like a blanket. You know, they're treating people like blankets and stuff. No. Some people start dating. I think, is that it? Oh, convenience, because maybe that's their roommate or something and they don't feel like going. Oh, quarantine made them stay inside.
Oh,
so then they started to date for convenience. But as soon as everything opened up, they're like, okay, forget you. I'm gonna find somebody else.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Damn. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm wondering if there's gonna be some articles about that coming out soon.
Yes. There's definitely some. There's definitely some that we could find.
Some people start dating because they're hobo.
Oh,
sexual.
please explain.
A hobosexual, from what I recently, well, not recently, I saw this like a couple of years back. A hobosexual is somebody who gets in a relationship with someone because they don't want to be left out on the street and actually end up being a legit hobo. So they get in a relationship for a house, for pixelated heads.
Oh, wow.
Juicy.
Wow. You know, it's juicy in a horrible way. But it's sad. There's really people doing that though. I can't even there's really people doing that. There's really people doing that. So this is great. A great topic we have today because we're going into the importance of goals in dating first.
Yes.
Right? So, you know, in those examples, everyone had a goal, you know, whether they knew it or not. So the hobosexual, like you said, they want to date because they want a roof over their head, right? The person, man or woman, that wants a sugar daddy or sugar mama, they're dating because they want someone to take care of their financial needs or other needs that involve money or things. Someone else is dating because you know what, they really, really just want to get married. So they're on that track and they are just focused. Some are a little more pushy than others, but for the most part, that's their goal.
Yeah.
Right? So the importance of goals in dating, yes, it's definitely important to have a goal. But you also have to figure out within that goal of why you're dating, you want to also have a goal with regard to the person that you're dating. Because a lot of the time I've noticed people have that goal and then I want to get married or I want to be in a long-term relationship. But then because the goal kind of blinds their vision into really looking into who is the person that I'm choosing to get to the goal. And that, I think we need to just take a step back. Yes, it's great to want to get that goal. Some goals are not great. Some people are just using people. But if you have a positive goal, you have a healthy goal, that's great. But really look at that person and don't be so focused on the goal that you forget all the stuff in the middle. So it's more than what's just, and when I say this, I'm thinking about online dating, right? So a lot of people are online dating today, and they have their goals in mind, and they have their dating profiles. And so what I'm bringing to light today, and what we're talking about and bringing to light today, is it's more than what's just listed on the profile or the initial representative, if you didn't meet that person online, that the person shows you when you're meeting in person. Right? So whether you're meeting online or you're meeting in person, maybe you met this person at some type of convention, function, just randomly in the supermarket. That person is showing you what they want to show you about themselves in that meeting. That person's profile, for the most part, people try to put their best foot forward, but you guys know out there, brunch guests, there's a lot of people out there, they have bad pictures and maybe their profile's not even properly filled out. But for the most part, they are showing you their representative, keyword, versus who they are. So I want to preface this section that I'm going over by saying dating's not easy. I know that firsthand. I have by no means mastered the dating game. I have learned a lot of things along the way, however, and I feel like I've improved in the quality of people and with choosing certain people with regard to the things that I keep in mind now versus in the beginning. That's the basis of what I'm going to discuss today. So based upon life, based upon certain experiences, not just my experiences, but the experiences of others, that I feel like when they kept certain things in mind, they had more success.
Okay.
And for me, success is not predicated on they stayed married for 50 years and died. That's not success to me personally. Okay. But success in the way that they felt about themselves while dating, whether or not they found a long-term partner or not. They had values, they stuck to their values, and they felt good about each interaction that they had when they were dating, when they had or carried that healthy mindset. To me, that's successful.
Oh, yes.
That's successful because, like I said, dating's not easy. You're putting yourself out there, and a lot of times people are doing things. I see people doing a lot of things, which is sacrificing their whatever standard they would have or should have for themselves in order to impress another person, even if it's just the first date. Even just you see people all the time doing things because they feel like they have to. Somehow it's going to give them a leg up. Whether it's a picture where they're showing your breasts more, doing something, you're showing your butt more, you're lifting up your skirt more. There is that getting attention that way. There's something unhealthy about that, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. I like how your focus is on success being more internal instead of like something external. And
yes,
it is important that we really help people understand that success doesn't have to be measured by what other people can see, because people they're not going home with you.
Yes.
If you live your life just thinking about, well, you know what, I'm successful in this dating game because I was with Tony for 15 years. No, it takes too much off of you feeling good about just you. You're going to be constantly seeking ways to make sure that other people see your relationships as successful or your dating life as successful based on just their standard and not you alone.
Yeah. And that as you say that, you bring up a good point. There's a lot of people, they have a self-esteem issue within themselves that hasn't necessarily been addressed. So their idea of success is they date the famous people only, the prettiest people, most attractive people only. That it goes by the stereotypical attractiveness. Now I'm talking about. It is a stereotypical attractiveness that it's been, I don't know, mass accepted, I guess, but changes throughout time with trends. So right now, which I'm hoping that we're getting out of it, I think we are. Having big butts is a big trend.
Oh, yeah.
So you might have somebody who is like, yeah, she's got a fat, you know what. And so all they feel like, yeah, I need to have a girl with a fat, you know what, to impress all my friends. Back in the day, it was big breasts was a big deal. You saw a lot of breast implants. Okay, now we see a lot of butt implants. For it was the big lip injections.
Yeah.
So with different trends and different times, you see it. If you live long enough, you get to see like what was popular, what's not popular, stuff like that. And you see people kind of gravitating towards those things, changing their bodies to fit certain ideals and certain trends for the moment, and in my opinion, betraying themselves in a certain way to get attention. And there's a certain level of self-esteem deficit, as I call it, in that. But
betraying themselves and killing themselves.
Yeah. Yes, in so many ways. So pretty much with when it comes to having goals in dating, goals can be positive and negative. And we here at the Brunch with Kiki and Casey podcast, we encourage what we view as positive dating goals. So positive dating goals would have to do with having a healthy mindset while dating. So that entails getting settled on what you're looking to do while you're dating. Are you looking for a life partner? Are you marriage minded, long-term relationship minded? That's what I'm saying when I say life partner. Are you dating in hopes to have children? That is also something that people consider when dating. Yes. Are you casually dating? So you're not seriously looking to casually, you're not looking for anything serious. Rather, you're looking to casually hook up. Are you revenge dating?
Lord.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. And that is actually a very, very real thing. You have people who you have gotten out of a relationship. Maybe you feel bitter or scornful, and you start dating, and you've heard this term before, that next person that they're dating is like the quote unquote rebound person. So then you're going into a situation where you're not fully focusing on that person, because you're just either trying to date to get over the person, just you yourself, or literally you have people that are dating because they're like, well, I just want them to see me with a new person to make them jealous. And there's something unhealthy about that, in my opinion. Are you dating to pass time for convenience?
Oh, God. What does that look like?
Yes. I have met a lot of people that do that. Maybe they are in the military overseas.
Okay.
And I have seen and encountered quite a few military service persons who live double lives. So they have their families back home, their children back home in the States. But then overseas, they have whoever they are dating. Some do have two families, but they have whoever they are dating wherever they are stationed. And that person could be a local person from that country or community if they are stationed somewhere else in the United States. Or it could literally be another service person that understands what it's like for them to go through what they're going through away from home, and they tend to gravitate to another service person that happens to be where they are. That is a real thing and an eye-opening thing for me to see firsthand, but it exists. So I say, you know what? That's one example.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then you have some people where they end up, living with someone that's not a relative. So, like, maybe I've seen guys where they're living in their home, their sister lives with them, the sister has a friend.
Okay.
The friend comes to live there, and then the brother and the sister start dating, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, well, I'll set my sights on this person because they're right here. They're right here. I don't feel like looking out for anything, and the person isn't really great for you or anything, but you just say, oh, I'll just mess with this person because they just want. Yeah,
I think
it's
about
kind
high
of a
school.
lazy.
It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
you're in my class
Mm-hmm.
and I'm dating you
Mm-hmm.
because you're in my class, you're in my homeroom. So
Mm-hmm.
and we have multiple classes together. So you know what? Yeah, you're my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And grown folk are doing this stuff.
Grown folks are doing it, and to me, it's kind of like a complacency, laziness attitude towards it in many ways. And so the next one question is, are you taking advantage of people? Like we mentioned before, like the gold digging for financial benefit or social upliftment. You feel like this person will get you into, different or higher social circles. Your career will be improved, or you get different kinds of connections because you're dating a certain type of person.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that do that. Are you dating because you feel family or friend or societal pressure to just date and / get married or have kids?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, there's a lot of societal pressure to quote unquote fit the mold of what people think you should be doing
Yeah.
at a certain age. And that varies for many people. You have some people who, they expect you to have a kid really, really early.
Yeah.
Versus maybe what they consider to be the quote unquote right time. I'm using air quotes, and then, sometimes it doesn't happen for many, many reasons. So you feeling pressured now, and then you get yourself into a situation with the wrong person because you feel this pressure that sometimes people are putting it on themselves. Sometimes it's family and friends. Sometimes it's you.
Ooh.
Sometimes people are just saying, I've got to do this by 30. I've got to do this by 25. I've got to do this by 40. And they're not paying attention to who they're doing it with.
Listen, I don't want to go there, but, it's true.
It's okay. We'll go there. But please know that if you don't want to do that, you don't want to date because you feel pressure, if whether or not you're doing it to yourself or whether it's coming from family or friends, you should be honest with yourself. And guess what? Just don't do it.
And you know what? Hey, to those family and friends who do that nonsense, please stay out of people's uteruses or uteri or uteri size, whatever. Get out of people's vages, okay? There are a whole bunch of reasons why women may not have children, because we know there are some men that have issues with infertility as well.
Yes.
But we all know that a man can shoot off if there's no infertility issues. It can shoot until they die.
Yes.
We know that women, we have the biological clock.
Yes.
Don't be so inappropriate and rude and go to a woman and ask, well, why didn't you have kids yet? There are so many different private struggles that women may have. Mind your business, mind your vag, and mind your dingling.
Yes.
It's inappropriate and it's rude.
It is. And I would, equally give a rude answer if somebody asked me something like that. Oh, why don't you have a baby? Well, guess what? There's a lot of assholes in the world, and I just didn't feel like being with them.
Hello.
Then they'll be offended because I'm cursing. It's just like, I'll just look at them and be like, you want me to have a baby so bad? Then find me one.
Hello.
Find me one then. All right, then get out my face. Like, just get
Why
out my
don't you
face.
have any kids? Well, why don't your bra fit you the right way? How about that? Don't ask somebody questions like that.
Are they gonna pay for the kids for you? No.
No.
It's ridiculous. But you bring up a good point, because there's a lot of, it's a very, and some people, they don't feel like they're doing it. Some people aren't doing it to be hurtful, I guess,
Yeah.
but it still comes off kind of weird, because it's just like, why are you asking something like that? It's just ridiculous, because you have your own expectation of what you think somebody should be doing, or where you think someone should be. So then you ask that question. It's ridiculous. Well, no matter what category you fall into, what I mentioned before as far as why you're dating, you should be aware of what you're doing and understand that it's important to be honest and upfront with the people that you're interested in, as well as be on the same page with them regarding what your dating goals are. So what I mean by that is, if you want to have children, don't date someone who put on their profile they don't want to have children.
Yes.
But by the same token, which has happened to me, I have dated people who have said, I want to have children. And then somehow they just magically change their mind, which in my opinion, they always did, felt they wanted what they wanted. They did not want to have children, but they lie.
Came with their
because
representative.
They gave you a representative because they said, well, I like this one, so I just want to get to know her, so I'm just going to lie. Or they don't even read. Most of the time I find that men don't read profiles. I'm just being honest.
They don't read?
They don't read the profile. They really just going off your picture. Oh, she has a nice smile, so I want to talk to her. Something like that. So but it's important for you to revisit the profile. So even if you find someone online and you're like, okay, this person seems like they match up with me, revisit what they put in there. So that you, as a part of conversation, to say, oh, you noticed this or that you put this about kids, so blah blah blah. Like, get those things out, and they shouldn't be afraid to talk about that stuff. If the profile and the company that's doing it asks those questions and has people putting it out there, you shouldn't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
It's out there. So all these people that is out there saying, oh, that's too personal to act. If the dating profile company puts out there whether you want to be married, whether you're just being around, being casual, and people can check off that box, it's not too personal.
There you go.
It's what's personal is you getting into my pants before you answer them questions. That's personal.
Hello. Back up from my personal.
Remember that all the goals and actions have consequences when you're dating. Some goals and actions are beneficial and some not so much. If you're not upfront and you lie, you'll get caught. It's just a matter of time, because it'll be a conversation, days or weeks from the time you met, and you're going to say something different, and that person's going to be like, hey, what did you mean by that? I thought that you were aligned with this type of thinking. It always happens when, someone is not being completely upfront.
That's true. My mama always say, what you do in the dark come to light.
Yes.
You lying, the truth will come out.
Yes. So your dating actions should align with positive dating goals. But in order to do this, you should be aware of certain things. Doing this, aligning yourself with positive dating goals, helps you to develop what we refer to as a healthy mindset in dating. So what is healthy mindset dating? It is dating with your health goals in mind and with a healthy sense of having a sense of interest mixed with discernment. I'm going to say that again. So having a healthy mindset when it comes to dating means that you have a healthy sense of interest mixed with discernment when meeting others. So, what do I mean by that? That means that, yes, you might see things that you like. Person looks nice, they dress nice, they look like they have a good head on their shoulders, but you must still think to yourself, I want to get to know this person's character. What are the types of questions that I would ask in order to get to know the person's character. Now, if you're just looking to get in someone's drawers, you don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah.
This conversation is not for you. If you just care because you about the person because they look good and they have a fat booty, this conversation is not for you. You have to come back when there's a certain level of maturity in you to get ready for the healthy mindset, you know. Then come back to this, listen to this over again and see if you get something from it. But if you are someone who is looking at the person's character, you will have a healthy amount of discernment and ask questions along those lines. Okay? So asking yourself the following questions. Are you dating with a positive purpose? Okay? Figure out what you want. Once again, have the courage to be honest about what you want, even if you might lose the person of interest. So there's a lot of people, they meet someone, they're like, but he's nice, he's nice, he's nice. Have the courage to look at it for what it is and say, this person is not aligned with me. Even if I like them, please understand, if that's an important point for you, I'll repeat, if there is a character that is an important point for you, a part of a person's character that's an important point for you, and you see the opposite of that, don't lower your standard. Understand that that person is showing you who they are. Don't allow your fears with regard to age, societal pressures, as mentioned before, to make you basically betray yourself. Betray yourself by not sticking to your word, your standard about what you're looking for.
When you say that, it's something about that. Even if you may lose a person of interest, and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, please.
When you say that, it makes me think about how if you get into that habit at just the dating stage, you don't even have an actual emotional attachment to this person. You're already getting into the habit of sacrificing what you want because you fear losing a person. That's only going to grow into a bigger beast in the relationship.
It's true.
Because you might find, and you know, this is saying if the relationship continues to go south, like it may turn out being great if you, that's, you know, we ain't saying that. In the case of if the relationship continues to go south and you have already made a compromise at the beginning or something that you shouldn't have been compromising, this person may continue to feel as if, or person may start to learn based on what you taught them that you would be willing to turn the other cheek.
You said a very key word, based on what you taught them. We teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
We teach people whether or not we can show the courage to stand up against something that we don't agree with. And that was definitely necessary, what you said, for people to hear. So yes, you're absolutely right. If it continues on, it just resurfaces later on, and it manifests itself in different ways over and over again. So, and I say that because I know I've done that. You know, I've done that. So,
I've done it too.
But at the same time, I see the difference in me, right? In me, and with the way that I'm able to get out of certain things that's not too good a little bit faster when I started to do that. And no matter what, I think the most important thing is to always feel good about yourself.
Absolutely.
And the decisions that you make. Because you could stay in something, but if you don't feel good about yourself, then you know something is not right. It's pulling away from your soul. And that's not healthy for anybody. So thank you for mentioning that, Kiki, because I'm telling you, that's a key word. Second, are you dating with a level of discernment, as I mentioned before? So what does that entail? It entails you looking past the looks and asking yourself, does this person have the kind of personality, character, temperament, and overall outlook on life that is compatible to yours and that you find interesting in a positive way. Now, when I say compatible, I don't mean that you all have to like the same things and do the same things and all of that. That's really not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is, if I say I'm looking for a certain temperament, I want someone that no matter what we're talking about, even if a discussion gets heated, this person is not going to start cursing at me, yelling and calling me a bitch. I'm not looking for that kind of temperament. I'm looking for someone that has some control over their emotions, which shows me that they have some emotional intelligence to know they're not going to get the most out of a good, argument or conversation when they do that with me. I need somebody that's going to understand that there's a certain level of respect, even when arguing. That's what I want. Once I start to, yes. Once I start to see that on simple levels, you getting like too rowdy, that's not what I'm looking for. Because if on a simple level, I'm just gonna say an example.
Say, my friend.
You feel like I stole your grapes.
Oh, shoot.
You feel like I ate your grapes? And you say, where's my damn grapes? You're not gonna last long with me.
No.
I don't play with that kind of stuff. One day it's you, where's my damn grapes? The next is get out my face, bitch. And then the next might be I'ma kill you, bitch. And people don't look for the smallest levels, they only look at the largest levels.
It's just,
But you don't get to the largest levels without the smallest levels. What did you let slip by? What did you let slip by on the smallest level? Then all of a sudden you find yourself in the biggest level. But I'm telling you, cut it off at the smallest level.
Yeah.
Look for it. Pick it out and teach them not to mess with you at the smallest level. And I guarantee they won't play with you. You won't get to any big level. It's not going to happen.
And it's not something to play, like you say, Russian roulette.
Yes.
It's not something to, people would say, oh, you didn't give the person a chance. Maybe they wouldn't have gone that far with you. Sometimes it's best to just take the chance of being safe.
Thank you.
Rather than sorry.
Thank you. And then I just want to say is if that person if you're someone looking for a long-term relationship, enter into marriage and you want to have kids, you're evaluating that person to see, can they be a good father? Can they be, if you have that temperament with me, that means you're going to have a temperament like that with the kids. And that's something that everybody needs to look at. What kind of temperament do I want in the household that I'm living in the household overall? No, nobody's perfect. But if in the household I want a certain kind of temperament, I can't pick up the rough temperament and think that I'm going to turn it into a softer temperament. No, you got to throw that fish back. Some fish are not good. You might catch rubber tires when you go fishing. Throw it back.
And then just adding on to what I mentioned about how people may say you didn't give the person a chance. It really falls on that person to now try to show you that they genuinely did not mean to come off in that way.
Yes.
It doesn't fall on you to have to be able to just say, you know what, this person didn't even apologize. This person didn't show any type of ounce of remorse. They didn't explain why they went that route. Yeah. And sometimes you may not want the explanation. Right. It is what it is. Yeah. It's your choice. But if you have a person that's crossing the line with being disrespectful, and on top of that, they kind of just feel like, what's the problem? That's double red flag.
Exactly. And that's I'm glad you brought this up again, because that's the experience that I had, right? And I took half a day to explain to the person why they were disrespectful. Literally, my brain was like, oh my God, I'm drained. And then after a while, the person was like, I realized why I didn't see things that way. And then they realized, well, I grew up in a house where my father was abusive. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry that it took you so long to get it, but that takes too much energy out my mind and my
Yeah.
spirit to make you get it. So you can't be the one. You can't be the one for me. That's just my opinion, because I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm not. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking to have to do that. That's too much. So that temperament's got to go. You know,
It wasn't
it wasn't
compatible with you.
compatible with me, and I just had to go. Um, but yes, thank you, Kiki. That's a very good point that you talked about there. Next, are you projecting a level of confidence? Oh, wait, I'm skipping. Do you understand who you are, your limitations, and do you set your expectations? Can't forget this, regarding what you will and what you will not participate in, regardless of activities you are not comfortable with. So, all kinds of activities, okay? Sexual activities, okay? Activities in which the person is trying to force you to get along with people that you don't feel comfortable getting along with. No one should be forced to do that. I don't care how much you love a person. No one should be forced to do that. If that person loves you and understand and is willing to listen to you, they should be willing to listen to why you're not comfortable being around some of their friends or whoever. At least be able to understand where you're coming from. Third, or I should say fourth, are you projecting a level of confidence no matter what size you are? And I know that's not easy for everyone, or what you look like, no matter your size or what you look like. It's not easy for everyone, but it must be done. People can pick up on the insecurities you have when you don't project that confidence. And I realize that there are a lot of people, men and women, who kind of look for that in people. And they do take advantage of people that they feel will accept anything, because they feel like, well, this person might be bigger, so they don't feel like they'll be lucky. They'll feel lucky to date me. So then that person treats you like crap, takes your money or whatever, and you feel you have low self-esteem. So then you just let them do it. That kind of stuff. Not good. Not good.
Pay attention to the signs. There are signs of some. You made the comment about, oh, this person will feel like they're lucky. There are actually situations where certain individuals will tell you early on, like, oh, I'm like the best thing out there. You lucky to have me, because I'm not gonna lie, you're not really somebody that a lot of people would want to talk to. And they say it in such a way that it's like you're trying to be charismatic as you insult someone.
Yes.
And that is the beginning stages of, I'm going to break you down emotionally, because I was able to find that hole within you, that in you, and I was able to see your insecurity. And people will, like you said, they will seek that out. They will look for that end to be like, okay, and they pay attention to what you're saying just on your first date. They're paying attention to the type of picture you chose to post as your profile picture, that screens certain things about you. And they're going to go in for the kill once they see that they have it in.
And it's sad, but it's true. And if you don't look out for those things, you get eaten alive. Yeah. You get eaten alive out here and feel, broke, busted, and disgusted, used and abused all over this place if you're not on your guard. Okay? For yourself, how you feel about yourself and the standards you must have for yourself. That's not a suggestion. You must have it, or else that's your standards are your armor in the battle. If you don't have it, you're done. Next, what is your mental relationship status? That goes right into this.
I like that.
When you're entering the dating game, what is your mental relationship status? Are you aware of any past relationship drama, pain, or issues that may have affected your dating choices when it comes to the partners you're selecting or the situations that you find yourself in? Are you choosing emotionally or physically unavailable partners due to internal intimacy issues that you're subconsciously projecting? So are you picking people who you know they either are in a relationship with someone else, or they are, you know, you just try to talk to them, or you just notice that they're not going to be serious with you. They just really want to mess around from time to time. But are you picking them because there's something inside of you that's kind of okay with them not choosing you? It's very weird and twisted, but there's a lot of people that do that. And have you taken the time to get to know yourself better before you enter the dating game? Are you just someone that's going from relationship to relationship to relationship, not really taking that time for yourself, and then you're jumping into something else just to have a person? Maybe because you feel like you can't be alone, or maybe because you feel like society thinks you should be with somebody, so you just, you know, are comfortable spending time with yourself. To me, that's a problem, you know?
Yeah.
And are you aware that your upbringing may play a role in the dating choices that you're making? That's just something.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
one right
that's
here.
something that everyone should keep in mind and understand, that a lot of the time, maybe you're dating, subconsciously dating whatever structure you grew up under. Maybe you know, your mom just stayed home and did certain things a certain way and catered to your dad. So you think that, well, in order for me to get this person, I've got to do this cooking and do this cleaning and do all this stuff. That's not necessarily something that you should just stick to in your mind as the only way to be. But a lot of people don't really know that. They really don't know that. They don't know that men can cook too. It doesn't have to, doesn't fall on women. Men do housework too. That's not just a woman thing. And I'm just using a heterosexual example for that, but there are many other examples people grow up with that are causing them to choose things in a certain way.
But there's the upbringing piece about, you know, is your upbringing playing a role, but is your family currently playing a role? God. Like, not what you're internally taking from your childhood, and like, no, do you actually have, is your mama and your pappy literally, and like, they're just jumping into your relationship and telling you what you need to do in your whether it's relationships or dating? Because what you may want dating wise, if you're, I'm just gonna say mom.
No.
You know,
a lot of times I see that it's the mom.
You know, they have their idea of what you're supposed to be with, and they will literally find ways to try to sabotage what could come just at the dating stage. So are you understanding that your upbringing is playing a role in the dating choices, but are you understanding that your parents, your siblings, are they playing a role currently? But what are you doing? What are you doing to make sure that it doesn't affect your dating?
And that's a great point, because I don't even think that a lot of people think that it's affecting it. They just think, oh, it's just having a regular conversation with the people that, you know, I grew up with and that I love and care about. But they're not understanding how much of an influence what they're saying is having even. And
but if you bring home a nice young lady or a nice young man, and the mom or the dad is just being cruel for no reason, you have to be able to understand, like, you know what? I have to separate this from just casual conversation with family that actually are showing that they care. This person has their own motive. And sometimes you have to understand that it's not just your friend who may like you for many years that have a motive of why they don't want your dating life to be successful. You may have your parents, your siblings, they might have a motive. They might not want you to actually be in a successful relationship because maybe you are the person that's supposed to take care of everybody.
That is, it's so true. Even though it's so sad to think about people and their families holding people back, but it's true. It's true. They hold people back. They put things into their mind. It causes them to make, you know, decisions that are not right. Whether they think it's right or not. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. But it's important, like you said, for people to realize whether or not that's going on. So the third part here to discuss is, you got to think to yourself, is the relationship the best choice for me? So let's say you've reached a point in which you think you have found someone that you're compatible with. However, you're still in the early stages of dating. so what I call the lovey-dovey honeymoon infatuation phase, and that it's wearing off and you're starting to notice signs that maybe you picked wrong. So what should you do? First, you should assess the issues carefully. So try to figure out, well, what's causing the issue or the tension? Is it due to a simple annoyance, or is it due to a more serious concern or character flaw? And for me, and this purpose of this conversation, a character flaw is bad temperament, physical abuse, emotional abusive, or in cases of physical emotional abuse, you should definitely leave. Okay, I just say there's nothing to play around there, but I don't care what's involved. Even if you're pregnant, leave. There's nothing that I'm gonna say. Yeah, if there's physical emotional abuse, wait around and see if it's gonna. Excuse me. No, you got to go. Like there's no gray area there, in my opinion. If you stay, you're in some type of deep fantasy that things are gonna get better. Nobody should be putting hands on anybody. No one should be calling anybody stupid. And if you're with somebody like that, they don't have the right mindset and temperament for you, bounce. But in non-emergent situations, ask yourself, can I deal with this particular flaw or issue? And you should be realistic and understand that no one is perfect and everyone has something that they can do to potentially annoy their partner or significant other. Then you should consider, have you expressed your concerns to your partner regarding the issue? How were your concerns received? That's what you should be looking. First of all, you shouldn't be afraid to express yourself. That's a bad sign. If you're afraid to express yourself, that's something that you need to think and ask yourself, well, why? If they're not in the first part where there's some physical or emotional abuse, why can't you communicate your concerns to your partner? Look at how your concerns were received. Were they dismissive? Are you willing to continue to work with this person regarding this issue? Those are the types of questions you need to ask. How much does this issue impact your daily life and happiness? That's an important question for a person to answer. And is the fact that the non-emergent issue is bothering you at a very high level? I'm not talking about a little level where you're like, ugh, he squeezed the toothpaste in the middle again, something like that. I'm talking about it's bothering you to the point where you can't sleep, you can't be pleasant around the person. Then maybe it's an indication that you're not as compatible as you think. So think to yourself, am I forcing things? Okay, because I'm having a really hard time overlooking something that's not too serious. So am I forcing things because I don't want the look of being alone or single or whatever? So food for thought. If you're not happy, don't fake the funk. Be honest, transparent, and end it. Move on with respect and dignity. There's no need to create a self-imposed prison. What's going on, lovely brunch guests? Just wanted to take a moment to say that this episode of the Brunch with Kiki and Casey podcast is sponsored by my company, Sage Advice Candle Co. In addition to co-hosting this fabulous podcast, I also make candles using a blend of natural waxes and offer a great selection of choices from gift set deals with large 16-ounce jars to 6-ounce tins, 2-ounce mini jars, and the cutest tea light gift sets. Each order always comes with free, that's right, free mini candles so you can try a wide range of scents. Just to give you a little background, I created this company out of a love for unique candle scents, as well as a desire to spread uplifting messages that I have personally used to motivate myself during tough times and to help me maintain a joyful spirit to build the mental strength and fortitude to live my life with peace and focus as a priority. And I know that the messages and scents that these candles have can do the same for you with uniquely scented candles with names such as Guts and Intuition, Strategic Risk Taker, and Peace and Serenity above all. you will be reminded that you have what it takes to handle any challenge you may be facing with grace, rationality, and persistence. We all need to do our best to uplift ourselves and make mental and spiritual peace a major priority in our lives. I hope you will enjoy these candles as much as I enjoy creating and using them every day. Visit etsy.com/shop/Sage Advice Candle Co. to see all of the current offerings. Once again, that's etsy.com/shop/Sage Advice Candle Co. One word, no spaces. And just for you, our special Brunch with Kiki and KC listeners, use promo code BRUNCH20 at checkout. That's BRUNCH 20 in order to get $20 off of your order of $45 or more. Check the description box and show notes section of the podcast below for more information. Hi, brunch guests. So we're back from our break and we're going to continue on. Kiki, let's get into the second part of our topic.
All right. And we're talking about sustaining relationships. So after you've already gone through the dating process and you realize, you know what, this is somebody that I'm good with. Y'all went through your brief period of trying to figure out if the issue that y'all had was annoying you. Like KC talked about previously, y'all are in a relationship long term.
Right.
So once you enter a relationship, there should be an understanding that it takes effort to make that relationship work, but also it takes effort to make sure it's healthy.
Yes.
So what are you doing to make sure you are contributing to the health of your relationship?
Yes.
Well, never stop dating your partner.
Yes.
I take it when I think about that whole piece of not stopping dating your partner. You're really thinking about how complacency is the devil.
Yes.
To say the most, but to say the least, it's a simple no-no.
Yeah.
Allowing yourself to get to a point where you're just too comfortable with your partner.
Yeah.
It's not a positive. Like be comfortable with your partner. You want to pass gas in front of your partner? I mean, if that's what y'all do, what you do.
I'm not doing it.
Might run you out the house, whatever.
Nope, don't do it with me. Going to the bathroom.
Oh God, that's where you understand if you're compatible with the passing gas. If you're in a relationship with somebody where you just feel like, whatever, you don't mind letting the hair on your legs grow, y'all are comfortable, that's cool.
And don't pee with the bathroom door open. I don't like that.
Nobody want to hear the water bottle pour.
Nope.
That's what it sounds like.
Don't like it. And farting while you're in the bathroom. Just close the door.
Y'all hear my friend KC? She's letting it be known.
Yep.
She knows what she wants.
Yep. Don't do it.
And she knows what is a deal breaker.
Yep. Don't do it.
But understand that there needs to be some level of comfort, but not to the point where it almost feels as if you are just like, well, now that I have you, I don't need to do anything to really keep you. And oftentimes there are people that get into that space, whether they do it intentionally or not. They're like, well, we don't need to go out.
That's a no for me. I don't want nobody that ever says that.
Yeah.
I like going out even in the pandemic.
Listen, put your mask on and let's do what we gotta do.
Exactly.
And you have a person that, even if it's not about physically going out, because yes, we're making our adjustments.
Yes.
To go out during a pandemic, but some people are genuinely terrified of going out.
Yes.
There's still a way of dating your partner indoors.
Yes.
So keeping that spark alive.
Yes.
That can simply mean setting time aside for an evening with each other. If you have children, knowing that you're going to put your kids down at a certain time so that y'all can have just dinner with each other.
Yep.
So that y'all can have just a moment to watch a movie with one another.
Yep.
Or if, you're just two individuals, they're dating each other, you don't have children, that could mean arranging a day or a couple of days where you take days off from work and spend time with one another, just bond with each other. But it should not get to a point where you feel like, you know what, I got you where I need you. You need to remind yourself of the initial spark.
Yes.
Because what is it that brought you two together?
Yes.
If you forget about that piece, then oftentimes you have two people that are just sitting with each other, and they're pretty much just two roommates that poke each other periodically.
Some of them not even poking.
And they're not even poking. And that leads me to the next thing. Sex to one another if you're into that. Send some sexy text messages. Keep that type of spark alive if that's something that, that's important to you. If having a sexual relationship, an emotional relationship, a mental relationship with one another is important, keep that spark alive.
Yes.
So just don't stop dating your partner.
Yes.
Don't stop courting your partner. Don't stop making that person feel like they're special.
Yes.
And then we go into the next piece, which is being naked emotionally.
Okay.
And what does that mean, and how can you accomplish that? Well, being naked just simply means being transparent and vulnerable with your partner. You'll be able to have conversations with your partner about your fears, your concerns, your wants, your desires, and your plans for your future, for yourself, for what you want for a family, whatever. Do you want a family? Like we mentioned earlier, being understanding of the fact that, you may want things, you may not want things, but being open and vulnerable and honest about those things.
Yes.
Another part of being naked emotionally would be setting aside your pride and thinking about your pride as the clothing. Remove the clothes.
Yes.
So that your partner can really see and understand what's going on with you, and so that you can also see what's going on with your partner.
How can pride interfere with the evolution of the relationship, in your opinion?
It's legit a disaster to just be so prideful. You can think about a situation where you just want your partner to understand why you're upset about something. And because your partner puts their pride aside, they won't acknowledge that they're doing this thing that's upsetting you. I don't like when it feels like you invalidate my suggestions. What do you mean I invalidate your suggestions? I don't know what you're talking about. You see, the problem is you just want to feel like there's always a problem or something like that. You are creating this level of frustration that is unnecessary if you would just put your pride to the side and say, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. Let's talk about this some more. The pride is literally you closing the door in front of your partner's face.
So when you're saying pride, because it's not like, okay, we're not saying like don't be proud of yourself, but like the ego
piece, your arrogance.
Yeah.
Not pride in the positive sense of the word. So put your ego, your arrogance to the side, your pride.
Yes.
Take that off for your partner.
Yes.
And then understand that you don't have to fear looking weak if you do that.
Yes.
You need to understand that it's okay to, if you feel like you want to cry, don't allow your ego to stop you from doing so.
Well, society tries to make people seem like if you cry, it's a weakness.
Yeah. And that needs to be eliminated, especially when you're talking about men. Men are constantly being told that crying is a sign of weakness. And that's just, crying is a sign of just being a human being.
Yep.
And it's okay to allow yourself to show that emotion with your partner. Because realistically speaking, if you don't have a problem with showing yourself at your happiest point, you don't hide your smile. So why are you hiding your tears?
Yeah.
And then we go into the next piece where yes, you need to make sure that you are able to be naked emotionally, but you also have to make sure you're someone who can allow someone to feel like they can be naked with you. Because oftentimes people will misuse their partner's vulnerability and their transparency. Don't misuse it. Don't weaponize it.
So what's an example? I'm sorry, Kiki. What's an example of when someone is weaponizing vulnerability?
Well, I can think of a moment where a person may actually come to you and let's say my partner came to me and he's like, I feel really insecure about where I'm at financially. You happen to get in, or I happen to get into an argument with him because he didn't clean his dishes or something like that. And so when we have this argument, I say, well, you ain't shit anyway because you don't make no money.
Okay.
It's
I see what you're saying.
Well,
yeah.
What's going on there? You just took something that I was okay with being vulnerable and letting you know I'm dealing with this. This is something that's really concerning me. And you literally use it as a weapon against me in a fight or in a moment of heat and frustration. And therefore, you just taught that person not to ever be emotionally naked with you.
I think you bring up a great point, and I want to just bring to light that if something like that is happening, I want people to pay attention to that. I don't want them to bypass that and then keep, going back to a person that does that, thinking, well, that was just a fight. There's a way to fight fair and healthy. There is such a thing as having unhealthy fights. It's not just putting hands on someone and getting physical. You can literally be having an unfair fight just using words. There's something in that person's psyche that wants to hurt you so badly, they will use those vulnerable things to do it. That is not love.
No, it's not.
Care.
And that's why it's important when we're talking about making sure you're someone who your partner can be naked with. You need to understand that vulnerability is not a weapon. And if you're a healthy individual, you know off the bat that that's not something that you should be doing. And that is the way to sustain a healthy relationship, by understanding that even when you're frustrated and you can say something to hurt that person's feelings, why would you want to go that low with somebody that you do love?
Because you can't come back from that. I mean, they're always going to remember that you did that.
And it's interesting because that's the next thing that's here. Understanding that words are powerful. And that what you say when you are upset, it can leave a lasting mark long after the disagreement is over. So do not use your words in a very negative light. Do not use it in a way to harm your partner. That is how you make sure your partner can be emotionally naked with you. Because they can trust that you're not going to say something that cuts below the belt. There are going to be moments where you're going to say, oh my God, you are driving me crazy. Okay, that's one thing. But when you go as far as to say, you are nothing of value to this relationship, you went too low. That person is always going to carry that with them and say, well, wow, this person felt that way. And they didn't come out of nowhere with this strong statement for no reason. They must really feel like I'm nothing of value. And they start to internalize those things. And then long after you may have kissed and made up, this person still thinks that you feel like they're nothing of value. And where there's a conflict that reminds them of the day that you made that comment, they're going to think back to that comment and they're going to reference it. See, this makes me think about that time when you told me I was nothing of value in this relationship. Why are you bringing that up? I said, I'm sorry, but you have to understand that left a lasting imprint on me. Oh, but still I said sorry. It doesn't matter.
I've said that before, and some people might disagree, but there are some things that I believe sorry cannot fix.
Yes.
It cannot fix.
I agree.
So that's definitely one of those things. And that's why when, like you said, somebody might bring it up and say it. Nope, it's always going to be in the back of their mind. And it's going to take a lot of work for them to, go through whatever they need to go through emotionally to maybe stop bringing it up. If they want to stay in the relationship, right? If they want to stay and they're trying to work with the person, then that takes a lot of work for them to work through how they can stop bringing that up. Because it's going to come up.
Absolutely.
If it's bothering them.
And that's when you have to take a moment before it gets to that point to understand, yes, you do have Everybody has the power of saying something that could really affect someone. Do you want to use that power in a negative way? So don't do that if you want your partner to feel like they could be vulnerable with you. And then also there's a piece of being emotionally intelligent. And when it comes to like this, the theory or the idea of being emotionally intelligent, there are 5 elements of that. There's having self-awareness, self-regulation. There's also having motivation, empathy, and social skills. And when you talk about self-awareness, it's having the ability to identify aspects of your emotional state, such as your tone and your body language when you're communicating with
there's
people.
A lot of people, they don't pay attention to that. They don't think it's a problem because they think, well, this is just me. You know, they act like that. Their mama act like that. Their sisters act like that. Their brothers act like that. Their whole neighborhood act like that. So this is just them. And that's it.
And that doesn't work. It doesn't work if you want your partner to feel safe with you. Where you just say, well, this is me. No, your tone, there's something about your demeanor when I'm expressing myself to you. It shows that you don't care about what I'm saying. You're choosing to play Candy Crush in your phone while I'm trying to explain something to you that's very important to this family, this relationship, this household, whatever. That shows me that you do not care. You're not, and maybe it's not that you don't care. Do you have self-awareness? And if you are aware of if you do have self-awareness, that means you're making a choice to not change your behavior, which goes into self-regulation. Having the ability to control or redirect your emotions, the think before you speak way of thinking, or the think before you speak way of the emotionally intelligence theory. Are you taking a moment to say, you know what? This person just expressed to me that they don't like the fact that I'm playing Candy Crush. They don't like the fact that I'm rolling my eyes. Okay, and do I have the ability to redirect my emotions, even though I may not want to, but for this person that I care about, do I have the ability to do that? Then there's, well, do I even have the motivation to do that? Do I feel, and it has nothing to do with that other person. Your motivation could just be your own motivation. Do you have the motivation, which is the understanding of what gives you drive and passion to achieve something? If in a relationship, achieving peace matters to you, well, what is the motivation? Well, not what is what are you doing to get to that level of peace?
And I feel like if you care about the person, you're concentrating on the person, I feel like you will have the motivation.
You should.
Yeah.
You should absolutely have the motivation. But if that's absent, then that's where you have a problem. That's where you have a breakdown. You potentially have a problem and a potential breakdown where a person does not feel like they can be safe with you or vulnerable with you. And then that goes into the piece of having empathy, which is very important. It's having the ability to understand a person's emotional state and also having the ability to react accordingly and appropriately to that person's emotional state. So if you see that your partner is crying, you don't sit there and just be like, whatever, man, like you're just doing too much. Like, are you responding appropriately to that person? Are you taking them by the hand and say, I understand that you're hurting right now? Because you want that person, again, to feel safe and feel like they can be vulnerable with you. And then you have your next piece of having the social skills, simply to be able to make someone feel like they can be safe with you, naked with you, which is the management of your relationships and understanding how to interact with people to ensure that both or all individuals involved will get some sort of positive or desirable outcome. Do you have the ability to make sure that in speaking to this person, that in the end you both can reach a resolution? Because conflicts happen. In the end, that you can reach some sort of resolution where you both feel like there's a desirable outcome for you both. And then another piece is to thank your partner for their vulnerability. I think about when I used to, before pandemic or BC, before Corona, when I was working, and I was working with youth who would tell me some very, very traumatic things. And I would thank them. I would thank you for feeling Thank you for trusting me enough to share that information with me.
Yes.
So when your partner actually opens up to you about something that's that could be traumatic, that could be sensitive, well, take a moment to thank them for that. Thank you for your vulnerability and transparency. Thank you for trusting me with this information, because it shows me that, you really do think I'm an important part of your life. And with this information, I'm going to do my best to support you through
and
being
I feel
vulnerable.
like if you're in the dating stage, just going back to the dating stage, and you do that, you share something like that with someone, they're not showing you that, they're not showing that they're, grateful for, I don't know if grateful is the right word, but that they're thankful for you sharing with them. I see that as a red flag from the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times, some of the heavier things sometimes come out in relationships. And when you get to that point where those heavy things do come out, you got to say thank you. Because then what gives that person any reason or not? Well, yeah, what can make a person feel like, what, I can do that again with you. I can open up about this thing with you again. Because you're thanking them rather than misusing the information and weaponizing it. And then the next piece is making sure that you have a friendship, a partnership, and a relationship with your partner. And understanding that each of those things means something different. When you have your friendship with this person, you enjoy each other for who you are and not what you want that person to be.
Can you repeat that again?
You enjoy each other for who you are and not for who you want that person to be. That is your friend. Think about when you are friends with somebody, like your best friend. You love your best friend. You're not nitpicking. You usually don't nitpick at your best friend for who they are, your friends for who they are. You just love spending time with your friends. Oftentimes when people get into relationships, they remove the friendship piece, and it's like a whole bunch of trying to like build a bear, build a man, build a woman.
I'm not doing
relationships. And nobody has time for that.
I'm not building nobody.
Don't build me. I'm not, like, we should just be evolving on our own. We should simply be supporting each other on our individual journey. No, I'm not going to make you dress how I feel like a man is supposed to dress if you have your own style. I'm not going to try to tell you that you have to speak this way. What is the point of that?
Why'd you get with them from the dating stage? You should have been like, okay, I don't like that person. Bounce. You're not compatible.
There you go. But then you know what? There are people that do, going back to what you said originally, like, what are your intentions when you're dating? There are people that do get into relationships because they want to build a person. And then they get upset at the end if this person becomes this wonderful version of what they built them to be. And then they go off to be with somebody else. And they'll literally say, well, I built you. I made you into the person that you are. And that's a problem. That's not a friendship. That's like your own weird investment into this person becoming something. Like you kind of want to brag about what you made a person be like. Nobody has time for that. You need to enjoy your partner for who they are. That is your friend. That should be your friend. Where you laugh with each other, you bond over common interests, or you discuss interests that y'all don't share in common. Learn about the things that you both find individually interesting. Have each other's backs like y'all homies. So that means something. I always think about this scenario where if I'll say me, I'm at a restaurant and I'll argue with the manager, and I might be in the wrong, but I don't want my partner to tell me I'm wrong right in front of the manager. You got to have my back. But when we leave the restaurant, you're going to be like, yo, Kiki, you was tripping in that restaurant. Tell me after we leave, because one, that shows that you're my friend because you want me to be a better version of myself. You're letting me know. But then you're also showing that you got my back in a moment. So you might let me go off on the manager. Go on. Let me go off on the manager for a little bit. But just know that at the same time, you still got my back. And you could do it in a way where you could kind of help me realize that I'm doing something wrong without embarrassing me too. Just being a neutral person. But have my back. I have your back.
When you said homies, it made me want to break into song.
Well, I'm always down.
Well,
I
there's a
like your
song.
song.
Where my homies? Where they at? Where my homies? What?
Ah.
I just had to put that out there for
Yeah,
y'all.
this is
Brunch
what
folks,
happens at brunch, y'all.
Put in the comments if you know what
Hello.
song that is, though.
Album about to drop soon. Casey about to drop her album soon. Shoot, and I think about that. You have to be homies, and then the next piece is partnership, and that's actually something that I learned in recent years. I learned about how that is actually an important element in a relationship, where you are on the same book, you're in the same book, on the same page, in the same paragraph, and on the same line about important matters. So you have a mutual understanding of how your life, of your individual life goals, your goals as a team, and then also how you would handle your finances, how you would handle, even how you handle conflicts with one another. Do we hug it out when we're upset with each other? Do you need a day to process your emotions? Do we pray? Because you have to be able to understand where you are at. It's kind of like if you were working in some sort of firm and you have your partners that you work with, your colleagues. You have to be able to understand each other's individual strengths. So in your partnership, when you are with your partner, understanding those individual strengths so that you can use them to be able to deal with, I guess, kind of like the business aspects of a relationship, because people sometimes kind of act like there aren't business aspects of an actual relationship. There are. Yeah. That's a marriage. Yeah. Marriage is business. So, there's that important piece. And how do you, another piece would be thinking about how you currently or eventually will lead your household and or family. Because some people are not seeing eye to eye on that. It's like, okay, I think that the kids should run around and throw paint on the wall when they want to express their emotions. But your partner's like, no, they're supposed to sit in the room and like write in their journal. But if y'all don't understand where y'all stand, then you're going to have problems. There needs to be some level of compromise in there. And then the last piece would be the relationship part of your relationship, which is learning each other's love language. Are you somebody who prefers touch, gifts, words of affirmation? And once you learn each other's love language, you also need to speak it. Don't just learn the language just so that you be like, I know you like to be touched. You like massages. Okay, so rub my feet when I'm talking to you about my long day.
That's a no. No.
Don't touch my feet. Oh, see? That's not Casey's love language. And that's important to know. Language. You gotta know people's love language.
On the weekends,
what's your love language?
When you're not working, I need to see you trimming hedges if we have a yard and stuff. Trimming hedges, cutting lawns, fixing things around the house. Yes.
Acts of services.
Yes. And cooking.
That's your love language. Yes, acts of service.
Dinner. Every day. If you gotta go to work, cook it and put it in the freezer so it stays fresh. That's me. That's my love language.
There you go. My love language is words. Okay. It's words of affirmation. I do like to hear, you know what, you're doing a great job with the kids, or you're doing a great job just overall managing the household, podcasts, stuff like that. Or, you look really nice. And then like my follow-up would be touch. My neck hurt. You got to know to massage my neck. That's the second one. But my main one, because I realized there are moments where I could go without the whole, like, you being in my physical space. Like, I could manage without, but I really do enjoy having someone tell me something positive. So that's mine. And you need to be able to speak that person's love language, or you're going to find yourself in a position where you have people feeling unfulfilled. And then don't choose to speak a language that you prefer to your partner. That's not their language. You have, like, imagine being somebody that just wants to hear you did a great job today, and you show up with a bunch of flowers and jewelry. That person may be able to accept the gift. However, that wasn't where they needed to feel fulfilled. And so, again, learn it and speak it. And then they show genuine romantic interest in one another. And that is all specific to whatever your relationship is, like how your relationship is. It's individualized. What is your way of showing romantic interest? Do you want somebody to, knock the boots with you every night? Or do you want somebody who just cuddles with you?
What if you want both?
You don't want to. Then you get both. You knock my boots and then you cuddle with me afterwards.
Oh, man.
Do what you need to do. And I don't want to hear you tired because you got to learn to speak my language.
Speak.
You better go in there.
Speak it now.
Some vitamins. Let's go now. Knock these boots and cuddle afterwards because I don't have no time for that. But seriously, there are people that are in relationships with individuals and they do not feel like there's a romantic piece of the relationship. There are people who I know that I know what that's like to be in a relationship with someone and there's like the partnership piece. Like I remember being in a relationship and there were like these different periods where it was like, okay, we were friends and it was like really cool having that friendship part of our relationship. But then it kind of transitioned to just partnership. And I'm like, so where's the relationship part at? Because when people see us, they're going to think we just brother and sister.
Bring up a good question. I'm sorry to interject, but I want you to finish your thought. I don't want to. So I guess
no. I'm going to remember.
Is there room for the idea that maybe it may not be possible to have it all? That maybe through the evolution of relationship, you might have one part first, one part second, one part third, but that could be a part of just the way y'all are at certain moments for different reasons. So, for example, maybe you would only have the partnership part because we need somebody to run the house. You got somebody that has to work away a lot. I'm thinking military families or just people that travel and live overseas for work. And so you can't get the sex every night. You can't get the cuddle every night. So you... Okay.
But you could get the relationship piece. There are, when there's a will, there's a way. And for me personally, I believe that there's definitely so many different ways that a person can go about sustaining their relationship. But for me personally, I believe that it's important to have all three. Because I know what it's like to have the friendship piece where it's like, okay, we're cool. Okay, but it doesn't feel like you actually find
that part
attractive.
I don't know how anybody can kind of deal with that. Because to me, that's the whole point. Because you can get a friend from anywhere. But the whole point of being in a relationship with the person of interest is because you actually find that person attractive.
And that's what falls into the romantic interest, showing genuine romantic interest in that person. Showing that person that you are actually interested in them. You find them attractive. You think that there's someone special on a romantic level. Because there are people that enter relationships strictly for the partnership piece. Strictly for the piece of, I just need to know how we're going to handle our finances and how we're going to take care of the kids. Don't touch me. Lord. Don't hug on me. Don't this. Okay, that stuff, it looks like it works, but those people are miserable. And those people will oftentimes try to go find somebody who's going to fulfill that friendship piece. That's when you have a person just hanging out with their work husband or their work wife. Then you have, then in the relationship piece is missing. That's when you have people that actually go out there and physically cheat. Because you couldn't even make them feel attractive. And you don't have to be physically next to that person to make them feel like you're romantically interested in them. Because I did the long distance relationship thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel in that time like, you know what, this person isn't romantically interested in me. I can tell this person's interested in me. I can tell that we have that relationship piece.
Yes.
So if you want to, you could show your genuine interest by making that phone call. We have FaceTime now. We have so many that you don't have to wait for a letter to be sent in the mail. You can send an email, you can send a text, you can send something to help that person know, like, you know what, you still are romantically interested in them. You still have that relationship piece there. Because I can tell you, when that relationship aspect is missing, you do look like two people that are either roommates or brother and sister.
Yeah.
People are like, well, what's going on there? And it's funny because people will always try to look for something to say. And they will actually have something that they can zero in on. These two don't look like they actually are happy with each other. And I think about the show Married at First Sight. You can see where there's certain couples where they're missing something, even though these people just knew each other for a couple of days. And some of them already have seemingly have the friendship, partnership, relationship piece down. And then there's other ones where it's like, because they don't really know each other, obviously their relationship piece is developing or whatever, but you can see there's something is missing. It's noticeable when something is missing in a relationship. So that was a good question to ask. Well, can you have them, like, do you have to have them all? I think about even in the most difficult times, you should still be your partner's friend. Even in the most difficult times, you should be able to sit down and have a conversation with each other about your finances if that's something that needs to be discussed. You should still be able to have that genuine romantic interest in that person where you don't get complacent. You still try to show them that you're willing to date them, even when you're upset. But when it's easy for people to try to make an excuse for, like, oh, nah, I'm mad at her, that's why I don't want to show her. Or I'm mad at him, that's why I don't want to show him that I think he's still attractive. And then what people find themselves in are situations where they're like, oh, so you going to work looking cute for such and such person. And it's like, but you didn't even compliment me. You haven't even been complimenting me in days. You haven't even spoken my love language in days. But now you want to feel on edge because it seems like I might be getting nice looking for somebody else at work. No. So I don't think that, me personally, for my own relationship, I don't even want to create the space where you can think that there's a time where one of these things should not be present. Because all three of them are important. Does that mean that there aren't going to be days where I don't want to talk to you? Yeah, there's going to be days that I don't want to talk to you, but that doesn't mean that these things go out the window. It just means in that moment, I don't want to talk to you. I need to process, or I need to just have some me time. So that's the having the friendship, partnership, and relationship piece. And you should always, and going back into the relationship piece, you should always remember what drew you two together. What brought y'all together?
Good point. That's a good point. We have a lot of people that have a lot of thoughts on that, because people feel like, well, if you got together in a certain way, then it could be telling to how things end up or something.
Yeah. So I think, like, if you know that when you started dating, y'all really enjoyed going to the museum. Y'all shared a common interest in history and going to the museum. On those days where things might get tough, you might want to go back to the piece of dating your significant other. You might want to just be like, you know what? Let's go take a trip to the museum. And that might be what is needed to get y'all in a space where you could possibly talk about whatever is troubling you two. So as long as it's not something ridiculous, like, there's any verbal or physical abuse, we're not talking about that type of challenges, but we're talking about if there's just a conflict, y'all can go back to a place where you had the greatest time with each other just to spark those memories. And then understanding that there is no perfect relationship. And that there are ebbs and flows. And in the relationship piece of the relationship, you have to understand that there's no such thing as perfection. It doesn't mean to settle for something that is not for you. That's not what it means. It means understanding that it doesn't matter what person you're going to be with. There are going to be moments where that person's going to get on your nerves. And that's what marriage means. It's like, okay, it says it in the vows. And if you're in a space where you're preparing yourself for marriage, you should already understand that there is for the good and the bad. Through the good and the bad, we're supposed to be able to stick it out together. And that means that when things get really difficult, and that means it could be about finances, conflict in a household, about children, or just if the person is having health issues, you need to be there for that person. As long as they're not disrespecting you, they're showing you that they do have some desire to make this your family or your relationship work. You have to try your best to be there for your partner. As long as you're not killing yourself in the process, you're not sacrificing your mental and your physical health in the process. Relationships are not perfect. So if you leave that person like, you know what, I'm going to go with Sasha, or I'm gonna go be with Tom.
You're always gonna find something. The grass ain't greener.
The grass ain't greener, and if it is greener, it's probably fake ass grass. And that's not doing nothing for you. So try to understand that there are going to be ebbs and flows. Do not go into a relationship with this idea that it's supposed to be perfection.
Right.
So there's that piece. You value each other, and make sure that you value each element. You value the friendship piece, you value the partnership piece, you value the relationship piece. You see the importance of all three. And then the final thing is the village.
Let's get into the village.
I am a firm believer in it takes a village philosophy. And I apply that to different aspects of life. Not just when it comes to it takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to have a good, village of friends to make sure you stay sane. But it also takes a village to help your relationship thrive. And having a village can mean a lot of different things. And one could just simply mean, of course, having people in yours and your partner's circle who offer genuine love, support, and honesty. And that could be your mutual friends. It could just be your individual friends who just really care about you. Like, you want to make sure that you have people in your circle who are not going to just pretend like you are perfect. They're not going to pretend like your partner is perfect, but they're going to be able to say, hey, friend, when you did X, Y, and Z, you should have reconsidered your approach when you was talking to your partner. Or, you listen, I know you love such and such, but he or she needs to try to do X, Y, and Z, because what they're doing right now is not working. And that's important to have in your village, because you know that the person is giving you advice from a loving space. And then you also want to be able to have people in your village who not only can point out when y'all are having difficulties, but they also celebrate your happiness, your happy moments. And then the other piece is exposing yourself to podcasts, YouTube channels, books, and articles that speak about how to preserve your relationship. And then also ways to manage the challenges that you experience in your relationship. And then you also have prayer. If you're a religious person, pray with your partner. Read religious material, which is basically scripture, whatever you may call it in your religious faith, with your partner, and lean on emphasis on trusted members of your religious community. Because I'm not trying to be funny, but there are some times where the deacon wants your wife. The deacon might want your wife. And so you need to not go to the deacon who wants your wife. So lean on trusted members of your religious community. And if you consider yourself not religious, but you consider yourself to be spiritual, meditate. If that means that you have to anoint yourself in certain oils or crystals or burn sage, whatever you feel is best for your partner and yourself. And then also leaning on, again, trusted members of your spiritual community. Because your yoga teacher might want your husband. and she might be busted
Shameful.
open and
Facing
downward
dog.
facing dog to show your husband what she's about. So be mindful.
Downward facing dog or doggy style? Which one?
Which one you want? Big chocolate? Like, nobody got time for that.
Hotness.
You know, and then the next piece would be, therapy, couples therapy. You want to make sure that you're able to, if you feel comfortable turning to someone who is a trained clinician, trained therapist who can give you tips and feedback on how to sustain your relationship or how to improve it. Having somebody who's just an outsider looking in, who does not know either one of you, who's not a friend, they have to be neutral, and they can just give you some really good feedback on how to communicate with one another. One of the things that I learned was the DARE method, which is, you have to describe what you want, express feelings, assert what you want, and reinforce what you want. So taking those types of tools and using that in your relationship. And then, of course, lean on each other as members of your own village. You are the person who goes home with your partner. So although you may be able to lean on your circle of friends, your spiritual community, your religious community, your therapist, you still have to actually be able to turn to each other and know how to have some sort of accountability for yourself and each other to make your relationship work and last. And then also, this is about lasting. This whole piece is about sustaining the relationship, but also you need to be able to have honest conversations about when enough is enough. It doesn't have to mean that you're in the relationship because you are, fighting with each other or anything like that. It could just mean that the relationship ran its course in a mutual, respectful way. Sometimes things come to an end, but it doesn't have to be messy.
I think that's important. Yep.
So with all of that said, the drink for thought is to grab yourself a non-dark and stormy relationship.
I love it. I
want one now.
Yes.
I want all of the drinks from every episode, just so you all know I'm not an alcoholic, but I just like the way
I'm
they
taking it back in my mind right now. Non-dark.
There we go.
Yes. Oh, wow. Kiki, this was a great episode. I feel like I have to listen back at the episode because I just, feel the blessing coming from it. A lot of things that were discussed, but, I know there's got to be people out there that will benefit from hearing, and hope that, there was at least one thing. I'm sure there were more than one thing, but at least one thing that you heard that you can say, you know what, I'm going to take this with me and try to do better for myself, for my relationship, for my family, for my kids, something. And please, brunch guests, feel free to put in the comments, write one thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you feel like you'll take with you as an important mental tool to try to learn more about, to actually implement, to make your life, your relationship better.
There we go.
This was good.
Yes, it was.
Tune into our next episode where we will be discussing how to get your mind right with your family. Well, brunch guests, it's that time again. We have come to the end of another great episode. We want to take this time to thank you all for joining us for today's brunch. And we want to invite you to brunch with us again next week. Once again, please take this time to subscribe, like, comment, and share this podcast. Until next time, make sure your mind is fed, your soul is at peace, and your glass is full of joy.